Hey guys, welcome back to interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Misfortune Updated Complete Guide. Alright, so now let's jump straight into it. We're basically going for a full lethality, like one-shot burst kind of build. And this is also going to be like the last MF video I'm going to make before her rework, because I don't think there's a lot of value in playing a lot of MF, because she's going to get reworked anyway. But before we jump into it, don't forget to check out her basic guide I'll put up in the cards above for her skills, timing, order tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But let's jump into the build. So first item I like to go for is the Gluttonous Greaves, which gives me of course the AD as well as the Omnivamp. Now you could go for Lethality Boots here as well, but I just think that having the Gluttonous Greaves for a bit of healing in the build is just going to be infinitely better. So for your first two items, you can kind of swap the order around. I like going for Duskblade first, because it still in the end gives me, more AD, not more AD, not more armor pen as well, but kind of more armor pen, I don't know, yeah. Okay, basically, it's not about the AD, it's not about the armor pen, it's about the passive. So, now with the new buffed Youmuu's, you actually get the same armor pen because it gives you 3 to 6 at 100 stacks. So 3 is at base, so it's going to give you same 18 armor pen. Now, that's not the important part. The important part is the Night Stalker passive, because over here you deal a bonus 60 to 160 bonus damage and gives a very huge slow for like just a very short duration. Now, why this is important is because MF can proc this on her Q. So when you bounce your Q onto an enemy, it procs the Duskblade, because the Q procs on hit effects. So I like to go for Duskblade first because it makes my Q damage increase by so much. So I like to go for Duskblade first, then Youmuu's second, which again a lot of armor pen and AD, and of course the extra attack speed and movement speed as well. And then we go into a Edge of Night for again a little bit extra armor pen, but this time we also get health and the spell shield for more survivability. And then we go for Sereldas. You could go for Sereldas before going for the Edge of Night, but I do think Sereldas after that kind of makes a little bit more sense when you've gotten all your lethality. So Sereldas of course gives you the armor pen as well as the slow, and the slow is really important on MF because without it you're not going to be able to hit your ult, and at this point your ult is going to do a lot of burst damage because of how much lethality you have. Now for your last item you can go for something like a GA or a defensive item like a Maw or something like that, or you could go for anti-heal with the Kempang Chainsword if you really need it. You never, okay not never, but you generally don't want to go for Maul Reminder, because with the Maul Reminder you do get crit as well as you do get Grievous Wounds, but you don't get the slow you need from Sereldas, so you really need that slow from Sereldas. So for the runes, First Strike, even though it did get nerfed, in patch 5.1a I believe it was, even though it got nerfed, it's still the best rune for like burst damage wise, so First Strike's still the way to go. Brutal of course does proc on your Q as well as your auto, so it's still quite useful. Giant Slayer is always good, and here we go for Bloodline for more healing since attack speed is not too important. And here we go for Bone Plating, or you could go for Hex Splash for the extra mobility as well. And for the spells we go for Flash and Exhaust 100% of the time, because Ghost not very useful on MF, so Exhaust just the better way to go. But with all that out of the way, let's jump into our gameplay. Okay, so now as usual, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll of course be sure to address them. So as I said just now in the intro, in case you guys skipped to the gameplay, this is probably going to be the last Misfortune gameplay until she gets reworked itself, simply due to the fact that I don't think it's really worth to play MF before the rework. I mean, there is, because you can't play it again anymore after the rework. So for nostalgia purposes, of course you can't play MF. However, for practical purposes, it's probably better to just wait for the rework and learn the new MF if you really want to play MF. But yeah, so with MF, or this version of MF at least, you always, not always, but you generally want to play with an engaged support so you have someone to CC while you hit your ulti, to make it simpler for you. Of course, some enchanters can do that as well, like Seraphine, for example, can do that. Of course, you have a lot of ideal supports, like you have your Amumu's, Nautilus, Leona, things like that. And Amumu support probably only good with MF, and I have played Amumu support with MF before, and it is absolutely insane. So typical MF trading pattern is to just, bounce off your Qs onto the enemies whenever they're near your minions. And of course, if you're playing against MF, you don't want to stand anywhere near there. But you can see Senna does not know that, so she does eat one of the MF Qs, and you just keep on doing this on repeat. Now, the beauty of going for a full lethality MF is you're a lot less ult reliant, which is one of the main reasons why I think lethality MF is the best build. Because if you build crit, yes, your autos are going to do a lot of damage. Yes, your Q is going to do a lot of damage. But honestly, your main damage comes from your ult when you crit. Because your ult can crit and will crit if you build crit. So basically, the main form of damage is going to be from your ult. But honestly, with Lethality MF, yes, your ult is going to do a lot of damage, which is great. You know, that's what we want. Aside from your ult though, if you can't get off a good ult, you're going to be a lot more useful because your autos and your Qs are going to be doing a lot more damage than the crit variant, which is kind of funny because normally you think crit gives more auto attack damage and such, but it really doesn't. So anyways, here we do pick up a kill onto Xayah. You can see she got caught out, and the Ignite from the Leona does pick up the kill. So 1 kill in the bag for our bot lane. And yeah, beauty of Lethality MF is just having a lot more Q damage and a lot more auto damage. And of course, with the first strike, you can burst people down as well. And that's kind of just the aim of the game. Now, MF has completely no mobility, easy to get one-shot by assassins. So the only way you can kind of counter that is to one-shot them yourselves. I have had games where I'm so fed as MF that when an enemy like, let's say, Talon jumps in on me, I actually kill him faster than he kills me, which is actually kind of insane when you think about it. So yeah, that's kind of how MF works in the current meta, in her current state before the rework. But of course, after the rework, it's going to be a different story. It's going to be... well, I don't know what it's going to be, to be honest, because I do know her passive now is going to be like a 3-hit passive, so I think Lethality MF is probably going to be dead after the rework. But anyways, here you can see we are just getting the kill onto MF, and Xayah's getting run down as well. Graves nearly gets the kill. If I actually landed that Q, Graves would have actually gotten the kill there. So kind of my bad for missing the skill shot, just slightly out of range there is the MF. A little bit unfortunate, but hey, you know, we still gonna get some tower plates, and you know, we still get a kill onto the Senna. So overall, it's just a huge win. Could have been a bigger win, but it's already, you know, good enough. So we grab 2 quick plates. Then we can reset and get you know, some Lethality items, get our serrated Dirk, things like that. So pretty interesting that MF is getting a rework, because I do think she's been one of the weakest ADCs for like a very, very long time, like over a year definitely. But I honestly think her kit was fine. The only issue is that the meta just doesn't really suit her, because MF is not a very traditional ADC. She's a lot more focused on like burst and like a huge team fight ulti instead of like constant DPS and stuff. And if you change MF to have the passive that's based on DPS, it could be a little bit awkward, because MF is never really someone who wants to continuously DPS the same target. And the reason why is because of her current passive, which of course you know, helps you burst new targets. So of course, if they change the new targets to a single target, MF's playstyle probably is going to be completely different than what it is now. So it's a really, really interesting change to say the least. Of course, I'm open to the change. I mean, honestly, even if you're not, you don't quite have a choice anyway. Riot's going to do what they want to do. So all you can really do is to adapt to the changes and, you know, just learn to play the new one. So here, you know, Senna does have a lot of range, and Xayah, you know, has the feathers and stuff. So we do still have to watch out, despite the fact that we have a decent lead against them. I have 1k gold lead over the Xayah, and so does Leona over the Senna. So we're definitely in a better position compared to the both of them. But we definitely don't want to, you know, do anything foolish or play too overly aggressive. We get some really nice poke onto the Senna here, and more poke onto the Senna just because of the bouncer. She's like at half health already. Xayah misses the root, which does give us a window to engage if we want to. However, we see a fight happening in the river, and we're rotating there real quick because we do have the priority, and we're of course just helping to take the dragon. Xayah gets engaged on, does have to flash away, pops the feathers. I get rooted by Lux ulti into the pull from the Xayah, and I have to flash out because Lux clearly was going for me there, but ends up kind of baiting herself, to be very honest. You know, into a bad fight. So here I'm pushing in the wave, and I'm rotating back to see if I can help my team. Lee Sin does go down and ends up, I'm not really needed actually, so that's fine. Just gonna go back to the base, recall, and grab some items. So wave is kind of awkwardly frozen outside the tower. Graves kind of helps by crashing the wave a little bit, but doesn't completely clear the wave, so not really fully, but yeah, it does help the situation slightly. We do get our Duskblade completion, so you will see it like the insane damage from Q. The only real issue here is that both of these chaps have bone plating, so that's kind of annoying. So I'm actually using the E to remove the bone plating so that my Q can actually do some damage. because with the bomb playing, the Q damage is going to get cut very significantly, and that's not what you really want. So here I'm just going to quickly clear out the minions here, and they probably have reset, so we can either keep the minions here, or we can just shove them in. So in this case, we're just going to keep the minions here so that we can look for a fight when they come back. Which looks like it's actually right now, probably. But we don't quite get the bounce, so we end up pushing in inadvertently anyway. So we're just probably going to have to push in now that we have the push. Warding the river to make sure Lee Sin isn't there. Now we can see Senna in the mid lane. So now we know Xayah's alone. So we're full on going aggressive onto the Xayah with a couple auto attacks. And Lee Sin's also in mid, so we're completely safe from anybody at this point. We're just focusing the tower down. And Xayah can't really do very much to defend the tower. Lee Sin's still mid. Senna though is probably making her way back down here, so we can't stay in such a pushed up position for too long. Trying to get the bounce onto the Xayah, but not quite. Ends up bouncing onto the minion instead. Senna is indeed back. Nice engage goes in from the Leona, and Senna just gets caught in the ulti. Leona W takes the kill though, which is a little bit unfortunate. Teemo now comes in. Does blind me, but MF is not very reliant on her auto, so Leona ends up taking another kill here, and Teemo is now flashing away. Now we're trying to chase him down. He's like 1 HP. Revealed by the controller as well. I try to slow him down, but he does have the move quick to get to safety. So not quite really working out here. Just picking up the fruit real quickly. And here we are going to get just a little bit of free damage on the Lee Sin, who tries to go onto Leona. And oh, by the way guys, I didn't actually mention this at the start of the video, but I actually took the mana flow ban rune in this particular game because we all know that MF has huge mana problems and we're not building mana moon here, so I actually took the mana flow ban to test it out. And overall, I do think it's not a bad rune. I didn't really cover this in the runes section of the video, but I do think it's not a very bad rune. I actually think it's pretty good. So that's also another option you can go for, but it's not a very kind of non-standard option for MF or any other ADC for that matter. Because you are but you are losing out on a combat rune instead and getting like a mana rune to just help you recall less, I guess. But yeah, definitely helpful. Like I recall, I don't find myself like completely out of mana when I take the rune, so I do think that rune probably can be taken in some instances. Using the E to check the bush, we see Senna has rotated to mid once again, and here Xayah is trying to take the skull. And unfortunately, we barely miss out on the skull. However, we are going to be able to force Xayah's flash, which is, I would trade giving the enemy a skull for the Xayah flash any day of the week. So we'll take it. Now it's like a party in mid. Both mid laners and bot laners are in the mid lane all together. But looks like they have backed off. So we're going to help Ziggs quickly push in and see if we can get some tower damage on. We do, and we are able to pick up the tower, but Ziggs does end up kind of running away before that happens, so he doesn't really get any of the local gold. So here we are going to back and complete our Yomus before Dragon spawns. So we're on the 2-item, lethality power spike. A lot of lethality from us right now. Headed straight for the Dragon. And we do have a Caitlyn top who has rotated to the Dragon here and is harassing the enemy bot lane. We're starting out the Dragon, but of course we're really wary of Lee Sin, getting some poke damage onto Lee Sin with the auto. And here Lee Sin obviously just looking for a steal, Qs onto the Leona, which is not really the target you want. Senna W lands onto Caitlyn, who does end up almost getting one shot, but Lee Sin instead gets one shot by me. As he's trying to walk into the pit. I'm walking into all the Teemo shrooms, which is not only slowing me down, but actually dealing really significant amounts of damage. So I'm going to have to like back off a little bit. I'm instead just going to take this tower with one auto and just quickly grab this. Now Lux actually kind of messed up big time there. And here I'm just going to flash auto to finish the kill. I'm not sure why she didn't hit the root. I think that root was actually a really free root to hit onto me. But she kind of just whiffed it completely and allowed me to basically just burst her 100 to 0 literally. Which I guess is a really good show of what MF can do in terms of the burst damage. Like you guys saw how I bursted her 100 to 0 instantly, and then like I think I auto Q, and then I had to flash auto for the last kill, last hit to kill. But yeah, that's pretty much how MF works. Insane amounts of damage. And yeah, pushing in the mid wave. Xayah is going for the Skull Crab again. This time we run into Lee Sin. We have to exhaust him so that we don't just die. He gets stunned. I just ulti him to quickly finish off the kill. Because without the ulti, the stun is going to expire and he's just going to run away. So we have to pop the ulti there to finish the kill onto him. And ulting to kill one person is still alright. You know, kill's a kill. So now Teemo again on the backline. Gets stunned, but again we just Q him to get the kill instead of autoing because we can't auto since he blinded us. Like here I just end up waffling around trying to decide whether or not to follow my team or to push in the wave. I end up just going to push the wave. And the enemy team surrenders. So we do get the victory here. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you guys so much for watching the video and goodbye.